These are my favorite accessories for the Lord of the Rings LCG. I'm making this because several of you have asked what I use to store the game and sleeve the game, but also just in how to make the game easier to play. So none of this is sponsored, but I'm going to put links in the description below just so you can find everything here and I'm going to talk about. So let's get started. My favorite accessory for this game is the Gamegenic Games Lair 600 Plus. I love it because I can not only store well over 700 cards in these two lanes here, but I can fit all of the tokens and dials in the top here and in these removable drawers on the sides. These are detachable, so to set up the game, I'm just going to be able to pull out these drawers with cubes and dice and my standard tokens and my expanded denomination tokens here, pull out my deck, pull out my quest, and I'm good to go. So I use this mostly in my house just to make the game easy to set up. Typically, I actually set up my decks and my quest the night before I want to play. And then the night I can play, I just pop this out and I'm good to go really, really quick. But it is very easy to transport the game with something like this as well. So it is a luxury. It is not cheap. I think it was like 80 bucks on Amazon, something like that. But for getting the game to be easy to play as possible, this is something that you might want to consider getting. So let me also really quickly show you some of the other accessories I have in here. To start with, these dividers are Gamegenic dividers, same company that made this box. They were like a couple bucks, really, really cheap. This foam divider, very handy for splitting up different sections of the cards, and I'll show you some more uses for these in a minute. These are from BCW that I got these. They also make some cool boxes I'll show you. I've got the standard threat dials here, and then I've also got some dice that I got on Amazon in the colors of the resources and damage tokens. Actually, let me show you these on the bottom here. There we go. So yeah, I got these on Amazon. I'll post the link if they're still available down there, but any standard size dice should work. These trays, by the way, have a little magnetic remover here, and they're actually designed to hold cards. So I can fit a full player deck in here, and this little magnetic divider lets me kind of lift out the entire deck easily. So you can store, you know, campaign cards in here or extra decks on the side, so that makes that part convenient as well. Now the other thing I use a lot are cubes. I use these as exhaust tokens, so I don't have to turn my cards sideways when I play. Sticking a cube on there makes it really easy to do the refresh phase. I just pick up all my cubes to unexhaust all my cards. And cubes I prefer far over tokens or circular things because these are just extremely easy to pick up. And you can put these on UberStax, which I will show you in a minute. They actually hang on top of the card racks that I use. So cubes, dice, you know, I've got some countdown dice that, you know, kind of all the numbers are sequentially ordered here. I think these are really commonly used in Magic the Gathering for life counters, but for some quests that have lots of big numbers on like a location, these can be handy. And then I also have some other smaller dice that I use for just counting something like a condition or marking if a once per round ability has been used. I can just mark it with a colorful die to remind myself. I find that really handy. All right, now these things are really awesome. These are 3D printed number trackers that use several of these little trackers inside. There's actually 2 tracks for it, so it makes it extremely easy to track your threat strength in the staging area versus your willpower at the bottom. So it makes calculating that and keeping track very, very easy. I use another color as well to track if I have Faramir on the table. I can track what my base willpower is and like what Faramir boosts it to. All kinds of things you can do with these, but I'll post the Thingiverse file if you want to 3D print these yourself. These for threat tracking and willpower tracking I found were just fantastic. Now if you go on Etsy, you'll find a bunch of handmade custom accessories for this. The most common are threat dials. So I got these nice little magnetic ones that, you know, these are magnetic. They pop off and pop back on. They also stick together. I couldn't find these made in this size right now when I looked, but if you just look on Etsy, you'll find all kinds of custom threat dials on there. Some of them look really a lot cooler than these. Oh, and these containers did not come with the games layer. This I stole from another Gamegenic accessory called the token silo, but they fit just perfectly inside this container on top, so it kind of keeps things nice and orderly. I think that's it. So let's go to the next thing. My second favorite accessory is UberStax. Now, these are just modular card racks that you can customize however you want. So they come with these individual pieces that you can hook together however you'd like to make a card rack. So here I could have a standalone active location and quest deck holder that I could put anywhere on the table, or I can, build something bigger like this set of racks here that I can use to hold all the cards in my hand. But for solo play, I built this monstrosity that serves as my staging area and my hand all in one. And what I love about this is that it's more ergonomic. I'm not looking down and bending my neck and my back over the table. This allows me just to look a little easier and be a little easier on my back and shoulders as I play a solo game. So that's UberStax. That's how I use them. But I just love how modular they are and how you can build really whatever you want. And when I travel with these, I just put them in a cloth bag here and tie this up so it's very easy to take with me to a friend's house and build racks for them while I'm there. This is the TitanShield card sorting tray, and I love this tray because it really makes it easy to break down your decks to return them to long-term storage, or if you're building decks to try to find all the potential cards you might put in a deck. This makes it so easy to lay things out, and there's just enough card slots to fit all 4 spheres plus neutral and the 3 major card types: allies, attachments, and events. So I love this as a very easy way to sort your cards as you're building decks or breaking them down to put them in storage. Now, this is a nice little deck holder that I found on Etsy. You can actually 3D print these yourself, but it's great for saving table space when you discard cards. It takes up a smaller footprint, and I usually get several of these for the different players in the game, and also, one for the encounter deck as well. These are the sleeves that I use to sleeve my entire collection. So I use TitanShield matte sleeves for my hero cards, and these are just luxurious. They're quite expensive, so I don't use them for all my cards. Some people do, and great for you if you can do that. But they are opaque on the back, so you can also get clear sleeves from TitanShield for player cards and things like that. But I use Sleeve Kings for all of my player cards and encounter cards because these are a really nice middle-of-the-road option. They are 60 microns, which is thicker than penny sleeves, but they are very affordable. If you can kind of buy them in bulk and get good shipping, I think they're like $2.50 a pack, and you get 110 sleeves per pack. So again, these are the SKS 8810. That is the model number on these. There's the size. So it's just their standard size sleeves. So this I just found is the best kind of middle of the road option. Now, when it comes to storing your cards, you really have one main question to ask. Do you want boxes or binders? I have used both at different times in my collecting of this game, so I feel like I can speak to the benefits of both here. The main benefits of the binder is that you can peruse your collection easily. You can see the artwork, you can see the card text, you can explore and ponder and think about the game with the physical cards in hand. You can also do the same thing on a website like Rings DB if you want to do it digitally, and that's what I tend to do now. In this particular binder, this is an Ultra Pro. I found some other brands that have an almost identical build to this, but these are side-loading pockets. I prefer these binders, even though it's a fixed number of pages, because 3-ring binders, I think, can damage your cards. If your card pages get caught underneath the rings, your cards actually might get damaged. Whereas these, with the soft pages and no metal rings here to worry about, I was able to store a complete collection of Tactics player cards in this red binder. I had 5 binders, 1 for each color, plus the neutral sphere. And the neutral binder held all the heroes, the contracts, and the side quests, and the fellowship cards. But it all fit in 5 binders like this. And so it looked really great on the shelf, and it was great to get to. But the main downside is just it is so tedious to get those cards out of the binder and back in when you're building decks and deconstructing decks. So I did not like the binder solution after actually trying to practically use it for a while. So that's why I moved to boxes. So I'm going to show you those in just a bit. But one last note about the binder is that you can fit 3 sleeved cards in a single pocket, front and back. So 6 cards in each spot on a single page. It was a little tight and it was a tiny bit bulgy, but it totally worked and I could still get the cards in and out just fine. And that's how I was able to fit a full, Spheres collection in a single binder. So anyway, let's get to some of the boxes. The first thing you should know is that these new core boxes are really good for storing cards. The insert that they have in these now is extremely sturdy, and you can fit, by my count, with these sleeves, 920 cards in the entire box. That's like 100 cards in each of these small slots, and then 360 in each of these larger slots. Plenty to do. And then every campaign box that you get, the Saga campaign boxes and the cycle campaign boxes have the same dimensions and same nice insert. So you can store all of the new cards coming out in these new campaign boxes just fine, and they look great on the shelf. So this is currently what I use to store my cards. Some extra add-ins you can get that are nice are some of these BCW card dividers. These are really cheap. You can get a bunch in a pack from BCW. And I think foam like this is essential. This also comes from BCW. This can separate different groups of cards, but if you remove cards from here, they can kind of flop over if you have too many cards removed. So getting foam in there to kind of fill in the gaps is, I think, essential. So you should get some of those. But if you have that, I think these are perfect. Now, some people have said that your sleeves will start curling at the corners if you have these packed in. I think maybe if you have them packed in too tight, but I have never had that problem with like sleeves curling in these boxes, so I don't think that's going to be a problem for you. Another great option I find is also from BCW. These are card storage boxes. I think the 800 count is probably the best one, just because the width I think is great for all the bookshelves that I have and maybe some other standard bookshelves. But these will fit 2 full cycles of encounter cards in a single box. So, I kind of used to write the different cycles on the side here and store 2 cycles in there. I don't think it will fit both cycles with the Nightmare decks for each cycle. But if you don't have Nightmare, then it's not a problem. And these are just great for storing a bunch of cards cheaply from BCW. The last box here I put as sort of an honorable mention. This is called the Card Barrier Box 1000 from KMC. On Amazon, it's just called the Card Box 1000, but the KMC brand is what you're looking for because these latches are nice and clicky. They're very strong. And what I love about this box is that it will hold the entire Saga campaign in a single box just perfectly. So each of these compartments will hold one of the novels. So Fellowship of the Ring fits completely in here, all the encounter cards. 2 Towers, Return of the King, and then you've got 2 extra containers that will hold all the campaign cards and the Boons and Burden cards. And then 1 extra slot you can do a couple things with. What I used to like doing is put all of the current Boons and Burdens that I'd earned and all of like the Fellowship cards and heroes that I currently can use. I would keep track of those, all the current ones in this separate slot. But you can also use this to store the 2 Saga standalone quests. If you have the Old Forest and the Fog on the Barrow Downs, those standalone quests will fit in that extra container too. So you can store the entire Saga campaign in a single nice transparent box for just transporting or just, I don't know, I think it looks great on the shelf to have the cards visible like that. So that's a fantastic box for card storage. Now that's it for accessories, but definitely check out my other videos. If you want to see more about the Lord of the Rings, the card game, I've got a how to play series as well as some unboxing and analysis videos if you'd like to see just how good some of the cards are in some of these packs. So you've been watching The Game Locker. Godspeed.